101, Kolkata's only 100% retro station. Her name's Jillian Haslam. এবং যেটা বলছিলাম যে পোস্ট ইন্ডিপেন্ডেন্স যে কলকাতা বা ইন্ডিয়া সেখানে তার জন্ম, তার বাবা মা তার both are British. কিন্তু তারা কলকাতা ছেড়ে যাননি. They did not leave Kolkata. They stayed back in Kolkata, and then a different story started unfolding. To talk about that and talk about the way she changed the course of her life, Jillian is here today. Good morning and welcome back to Kolkata in a way, because you keep coming back to Kolkata every year, is it not?
Absolutely. Good
right,
morning.
exactly.
Thank you.
So, good morning and welcome.
Thank you.
So, 1970s when you were born in Kolkata, and then the way you have seen Kolkata changing in front of your eyes because of your British parents, they never left Kolkata. And how things were there in 70s or the days after 70s, because as I was going through one newspaper report, it wasn't that very good. It wasn't rosy at all.
No, of course not. But my parents are not, it's difficult to describe. My parents are not, you can't call them British because they have British ancestry.
Right, okay.
So my father served with the British Army because his father was British. And my mother is a mixture of Armenian and Scottish.
Okay.
Because her father served with the British Army, but my parents are actually born here.
Oh, so in a way they're Indian.
Yeah, well, I get asked the question many times, why do you say you're Indian when you have British blood and British parents on both sides? And sometimes you get asked, you're Indian, because you're born here. It's just different people think differently.
Right.
But I like to feel I'm Indian because I'm born here. So, yes, I was born in 1970, and as far back as I can remember, we stayed behind people's houses, under their steps, in their verandas, whatever. And we also stayed right here in Princess Street. So tomorrow we're taking a lot of people, as we do every trip, to visit the places where I grew up. So one of the places in Princess Street, under the stairs, where we spent.
I was seeing one of those pictures, in fact. So name the places that you have stayed during 70s and 80s and that era, because people who are listening to you might become familiar. Okay, these are the places we know pretty well.
Princess Street, actually. The staircase still stands. The building is still there.
Okay.
We're going to visit tomorrow morning. Again, I visit on every trip.
A part of your life you spent in Dum Dum as well.
Yes.
As I was going through the newspaper report. Yes.
And we stayed in Dum Dum for a while. There was a very generous gentleman, actually, Mr. Nazareth, who offered my father, actually, a job there to start a little school, an English-speaking school. And so we moved there. We were very excited. But unfortunately, there was a kidnap arranged for my sister. And so we had to leave home and house in the dead of night and just run right back to Calcutta, where we, moved to Kidapur. And in Kidapur we stayed in a place called Boy Kalash, which is right up against the docks. Again, we're going there tomorrow morning as well. It's a little room, 8 by 10 feet. And it was very difficult. Hardly any electricity, no sanitary conditions, you know it all. And there's 3 toilets that basically more than 3,000 people shared. And the place still stands today. The room is there. I was in the room last Christmas. And I love going back there. And, that's really where life truly happened for us, because it was the poorest of the poor who saved our lives,
Jillian, আজকে এখানে আসার মেইন কারণটা ছিল, যখন প্রথম আমি খবরটা পাই ওনার এখানে কলকাতায় উনি আসছেন, আমার কাছে একটা নিউজপেপার রিপোর্ট আসে, যাতে ফার্স্টলি মাথায় দেওয়া ছিল the title said the Slumdog Millionaire, which struck me most. Why exactly so? Now, as I was going through the report, obviously every sentence, every paragraph was speaking about your journey, the way you started from slums in a way, and obviously I'm going to talk about not the millionaire side, but then again, yes, of course, it's like rags to riches journey. Now, how things shaped up, because your life is an inspiration to many who might have lost hope that nothing can happen after this point of time in my life. But if they look at your life, because you have written something about your life as well, which might be converted into a movie pretty soon.
Yeah.
So, some points which might inspire my listeners, my friends who are listening to you right now on radio.
Well, I have been contacted by hundreds of people from India, to be honest, about, pretty much the same question. And there are even very many people who are suffering with various types of disabilities who have also contacted me. And the truth of the matter is that you mustn't let your circumstances hold you down.
Right.
Irrespective of where you come from or what happens to you, you have to understand that you are a person with the same mental faculties as Richard Branson, or, your Prime Minister, Modi, or, our Prime Minister, Theresa May, Donald Trump, or Obama. But we have to understand that we have the same mental faculties, the same brain, And it's just that some people use it to its fullest, and some of us believe that we can't make anything of our lives, and so we give up. So my parents, because they lost 4 children to malnutrition and poverty, and they had a very, very, very hard time, in a way they kind of accepted their circumstances, and they actually accepted their fate, and they thought, well, we're staying here, we're living here, and now there's nothing that can change. We just
But
have
you
to
were
accept
not the
it.
one to accept that. You did not accept the fact.
No, because I didn't. I don't know why, I can't answer that, but there was a part of me that I saw my little sister dying. She was only 3 days old, and I loved her to bits, and I thought, I have to save her, which I did, thankfully.
Susan.
Yes, and she's
course.
now married in Australia with her own little baby. And after that, I thought, no, I have to improve my life, get my family away, and come back, and not only give back to the people who actually saved our lives. I wouldn't be in front of you today if, you
They
know,
were not there.
so many Modis and Panwalas and, rickshaw pullers and oh my gosh, there's so many of them who helped us, and the tea shop who gave me free milk for my sister. So I need to give back to those people, and I really need to give back to my country, my city, the children here, because, there was a time when you felt that the country had given up on you, the community had given up on you, and the doctors had anyway given up on my sister. And you felt that you were in a world full of people, but yet you felt alone. And when I look at all these kids, we've just come from another speech from another school, and when I look at them, I think they feel the same way. So if I can inspire them not to feel that way and not to give up on their lives, sometimes I go to school and I ask the question, do you believe that all your dreams can come true? And they'll look at you absolutely blank in the face. But after I tell them my story, and I've just been to Kidapur and talked to children from 12 different schools in the slum area. And then I tell them my story, and I said, I can take you by the hand and show you our little room, show you where I fell down with a bucket of water, show you, where we lived. And now do you believe that anything can happen? And all hands go up. So, that's inspiration.
Hope is a very small word, H-O-P-E, just a 4-letter word, but that has a huge strength that I believe at times. And it's your brain rather, if you can make yourself believe that, okay, fine, I can do so. Jillian is one of those examples. Jillian is stay tuned in 94.3. The home is obviously at times for people like, it's where you spend your childhood days. For Jillian, who's my guest this morning, her home is Kolkata, where she was born and brought up, and then she left for England. But then again, she keeps on coming back to Kolkata every year, because that's where her home is. How exactly? Like you spend, say, roughly 15, 16 years in Kolkata, then you left for Delhi, then you move on to London, and you keep on coming back to Kolkata. And as you were saying, every time you come back to Kolkata, you feel you're coming back to your home, and you spend your Christmas here.
Yeah, because as Christians, as little girls, and throughout our school life and whatever, we always taught that Christmas is a time for family. And no matter what you're doing anywhere in the world, you drop everything, you leave everything, you take a holiday, and you actually go back home. That's what we have to do. So for me, home is here. Our study centers of kids, all our 6 study centers, all our aged people. I mean,
all are in Kolkata?
All are in Kolkata, of course, and also, the youth who look out for us, all the kids from other schools, going back to all the slum schools.
Can you name the areas where these schools are?
Oh, of course, in Kidapur. I've got 7 speeches in 7 schools all over Calcutta in these 3 days. So they're all over. And of course, in Uttapara we have 6 study centers for street kids.
Okay.
And there's a lady called Rakhi Gupta. She heads all of those study centers for us. And then we have food banks. One is in Bihala, one is in Ripon Street, and one is in Picnic Gardens. So all the aged people come out from there. And I can't think of a better way to spend Christmas, because really, if you go back a step, what did Jesus really want from us? He wanted the true meaning of Christmas, which is care, giving, kindness, and sharing. It's not about commercialism. It's not about getting things and more things and more things that you don't need. This is the real meaning of Christmas, and for me, I couldn't think of a better way to spend it. So yes, I love coming back every year.
And she has another reasons for coming back to Kolkata as well. In fact, the awards that she has been receiving over the last many years. True Legend Award from the Telegraph, I think it was the last year.
Yes, last year.
Yeah, and this year she's received Excellence in Humanitarianism from Hello Kolkata. So, awards do speak of whatever you have done, but then again, you know deep inside your heart, whatever you do from your heart is the most important thing.
Absolutely.
What's your vision that you have for doing, for maybe the betterment of children in Kolkata or maybe the world across?
You know, my vision is so big that sometimes I get scared of it myself, but my vision is that at least before I die, when a child looks up at their parents and they ask, what is poverty? We shouldn't have to point to people to say, okay, come to the streets, I'll show you. We should have to take them to a museum and show them evidence of what poverty was. That's my mission, that's my goal, that's my vision, to try and eliminate the sadness and the dire need that exists out there, because for me, I've lived it and I know what it feels like, and I just want to try to eliminate that poverty. Maybe I'll succeed, maybe I won't, but I'm happy to die trying.
Money is not the only factor which can eliminate poverty. There are other things as well. Which else, what other things are you trying to do in that way, maybe help eliminating poverty in that way?
I think, you know, when you have such a big goal and mission in your mind, you have to try from all angles. So I'm trying with the children and education, you know, with the street children. We try with the food banks to feed the very elderly people who are unable to help themselves.
You're setting up academies as well.
Of course, yesterday we actually launched the National Speaking Academy here in Calcutta for 12 schools. And our youth team went into I don't know how many schools and conducted the quarterfinals. We actually held the semi-finals and the finals yesterday. We gave away very, very good prizes. The schools are amazed and very, very grateful. And, you know, this morning I was at a school's assembly for them just to say thank you for everything that we did. So you got to try with the main schools, you got to try with the poor schools, you got to try with the aged, the disabled. Yesterday, I took 3 people with me to the National Speaking Academy. One person was a rickshaw puller who I've interviewed on my own radio show. Because I do a radio show in London too.
Okay, so you're a radio host as well. That's interesting.
So, and this guy is just amazing. The kind of people he helps in his villages and how he travels to Calcutta and how he tells people about reality. There's a little girl who is being brought up on rice and salt, and yet she has fought 40 contestants in 40 different countries to retain her belt in karate. And I'm just going from here to the press club, you know, because they just want to say thank you to me, and she's going to be there. There's another guy who is the world's only blade cricketer. And we don't even know that we have these people in our city. I'm like astonished. We have some great personalities. And I want to bring this to the forefront. So I have got to do it, whether it's to feed people or educate people or get main school children and colleges to help me. I can't do it alone. No man.
Or spot talents and nurture them and take care of them.
And to get the help from the city, because these people can do a lot. So I feel very, very grateful when I deliver a speech and a principal turns around to me and says, Jillian, just tell us what we can do to help, and we help. That's what I want.
যে পর্দা থাকে সেই পর্দাটাকে সরাতে হয় at times there are children যারা চট করে open up করতে চায় না. We need to help them out যাতে তারা open up করতে পারে, and they start thinking there's a world outside the regular world, the world that they know so well. এবং এই ওয়ার্ল্ডটাকে ওপেন আপ করার জন্য চেষ্টা করছেন যিনি জিলিয়ান হাসলাম, যিনি কলকাতায় দীর্ঘদিন থেকেছেন, জন্ম হয়েছে তার এখানে, এবং তারপরে তিনি ওই rags to riches একটা অদ্ভুত গল্প রয়েছে তার. She has already written her life story, which is Indian English, right, Jillian? But before that, we talk about Indian English. Public speaking course helped you a lot. As I was talking about, like opening up. There are children who do not know that there's a boundary which they can cross if they take a step that can be a huge leap for their career, for their life, which you took through a public speaking course. How did it help you? Because you are speaking, you are setting up speaking academy as well in that line. So how that helps?
Well, you know, my dad once said to me that when he was in the army, there were many of these very strong guys, you know, who had gone through military training and everything, and they were very strong, but they didn't know how to swim. And so the generals just took them to a swimming pool and took them to the top, to the diving board, and pushed them over. These were very strong guys, but when you are in the army, you've got to know how to save your life and to swim. So they were pushed over, and when they, you know, got into the pool, they actually learned how to swim, but they never ever attempted it because their fear always held them back.
Right, exactly.
And these were grown men.
So it's there in your mind, the block.
Exactly. That block is always in your mind that I am less. I can't do much. If I had more, I would accomplish more. So, Wayne Dyer puts it very well. He calls the illness excuse-itis. Right? So it's like you do it to yourself. You think, if I had more money, I would do better. If I went to a better school, I would do better. If I went to college, I would be greater. And so on and so on and so on. But actually speaking, the truth lies just within you.
Or the resources that you have.
It's what you believe, because your thoughts become things. What the mind can conceive, it can achieve.
True.
Right? And your positivity is very, very essential. So if you can understand that whatever, all your thoughts are becoming things, you are actually becoming more and more negative. Aristotle said, we are what we repeatedly do. So if you repeatedly think you're going to be nothing,
or you make it
will
that
be
practice.
nothing.
Yeah.
If you repeatedly think, I can be something, you will develop something. That's why you have that saying, if you think of going, to the moon, you land on a star.
Right, exactly.
But you've got to continuously, if you read the book, The Power of Thinking Big, if every child just reads that book, it's just magnificent. And that's what you have to think. You have to think, my immediate circumstances are not, they do not determine my future. I am bigger and
you can
better
alter
than this.
them.
Maya Angelou said, I can be changed by my circumstances, but I refuse to be reduced by it. If you allow something to reduce you, it is going to reduce you, because your brain does not understand right from wrong, right? There's a saying, there's nothing good and nothing bad. You're thinking
It's
that
only
makes
perception.
it so, right? So if you think positively, you are going to become that positive person, and then, mixing with positive people. Warren Buffett said, associate yourself with bigger and better people, and you will drift in that direction.
Right.
And all these things really, really matter. That's what I thought.
And that's how you are you're transferring that into the kids,
Yes.
the slum kids.
Yes.
And through that Public Speaking Academy, is it so only, or there are other mediums as well?
Well, there's so many mediums, but of course we've launched the National Speaking Academy yesterday here in Kolkata. But truly, it is not about taking a person and turning them into a public speaker. It is about inspiring confidence, right? Like Jack Welch said, if all you have to do is give them confidence and then they will act. That's all it takes. Such a little thing that can make such a huge difference. So I'm trying to inspire confidence, of course, help with the English language, but you know what? The language is the last issue. Look at the French, how they speak French in Montreal. In Brazil and in Goa, they both speak Portuguese, but if you went to Brazil, you would never understand Portuguese.
It's so very different.
People take a language and they make it their own. As long as the subject understands that language, it should be okay. That's not the worry. The worry is the confidence and the communication skills that one requires.
Right.
With me, I asked a person, I've asked CEOs, will you mentor me? I've gone to every bank and asked them, will you mentor me? I've always asked for help. And I asked a mentor, will you mentor me? And he said, yeah, if you put your name down for a speaking competition. And I thought, no, forget about it. I'm not going to go there, because
I'm not going to jump into the pool.
No, because I was a very troubled child, right? Given all that I have been through and all that I went through, I didn't believe that I was worth anything. I believed I was worth absolutely nothing. But I also had this side of me that I should at least continue to try. So when
because you got nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose.
Right.
So, but just look at the difference. I tried things that were easy. So, for example, many people might think it's not easy, but for me it was. So traveling to Scotland every single Friday and getting off a platform into knee-deep snow, right? But for me it was easy because I was not put under pressure. So it was fine. And I did that for so many years. I went to so many different trainings and stuff. But the minute somebody said to me, put your name down for a public speaking contest, I was like, no, forget it. Right? But the minute I did it, it was, the only way I can describe it to you is like, I was something trapped in a champagne bottle, and somebody opened it up after keeping me, in a storage or in a cellar for very many years of my life.
And came out with gin, like the Aladdin movies.
Exactly. It's like your wish is my command, And I became unstoppable. I started writing. It's the same little thing that happened with Hans Christian Andersen, right? When he wrote his life story in The Ugly Duckling, he was thrown out of his singing class, his theatre class. He went to school at the age of 17 with boys and girls who were 7 and 8 years old. But he always said to his father, I want to be famous, yeah? But nobody really accepted him. There was this one person in his life who said to him, you can be and you will be. And today, even though he was born in 1805, 2 centuries later, people are still reading his stories to their children all over the world. Nobody has been able to match his legacy.
So very contemporary.
Right. So that is what we have to believe, that there is something. And he was a very, very quiet guy. He was a total introvert.
So you took up writing as well. You have written Indian English, your own story.
Yeah.
And you're about to see that converted into a film. How exciting!
Well, I didn't even know that all of that is going to happen. It's just like I always say, there's like a pair of invisible hands doing all of this and I don't even know who's doing it. But, one fine day I just found myself writing the story and it all happened. Many people attribute it, it's because of all that you've done for your family, all that you've done for your parents, it's your mother's blessings and your father's blessings, but whatever. I wrote it and then I got contacted by a British screenwriter who asked me if he could write a screenplay. So he wrote it. And he just entered it into the film festival, the Monaco Film Festival. And suddenly one day he called me and he said, you're never going to believe it, I've got to meet you. So I met him and he said, we have won the Best Screenplay Award in the Epic and Historical category. And it was from there that Hollywood picked it up.
Okay.
And I got contacted by a producer, Cyrus Yavna. And he's now brought on board a director, Jack Shoulder. They are all Golden Globe and Academy Award winners. And we are all now working together to put together a development package. It will be shot, I believe so, in America, the UK, and of course, Calcutta.
Of course, Calcutta, yes.
And
who are the stars? Any idea? Any name that we know by?
They have if you look at my site and you look at, all the press articles, journalists have already started putting Angelina Jolie's picture and my picture together.
Too good. Why not?
But there's different views. Cyrus says, maybe we get her because, she's doing a lot of humanitarian work. Many people say it should be Meg Ryan. Some people say it should be Julia Stiles. No, it should be Kate Winslet. Again, I think it's up to the professionals to do their job. They say Anthony Hopkins should take my father's role.
Wow.
But again, I don't know right now. And to be honest, I don't want to tread, in that direction because I'm not equipped enough and I'm not a professional enough to make those decisions. I'm just glad that it's going to happen. And I just want to make sure that they said that they're looking for 2 Jillians and 2 Vanessas to play the roles. And they said they'll put this contest out worldwide to try and interview children to see. And I said, well, why can't we just get them from Calcutta? But then they said, well, we won't get girls who look like you, over there. And I said, just leave it to me, I'll find them. But we have to get them from here. We want to get them from here. So as much as I can, I want to do most of it and get most of it done here. Because I just need to reach out to our people, and I need to bring everything, all glory home, really, not keep it outside.
The only problem with radio is you cannot look at the faces of the people who are talking to you, and that's the biggest problem, as well as, in a way, that's the biggest, maybe I would say, a cloak. But well, for the time being, Jillian's here with me, and whatever she's been saying, I was looking at her face, right there, the expressions, magnitudes of expressions, and she's so emotional. I could see teardrops in her eyes, if I'm not much wrong. Not exactly, yes, I was right. So Jillian Haslam here in my studio on 94.3 Radio 1, Kolkata's only 100% retro station, sharing her life story, sharing a truly inspirational story, and that might get converted into a Hollywood movie with big names. But we are looking forward to it, no doubt. Jillian, thank you very, very much. You made my day, I would say, because there are times when you speak to somebody, you get inspired. There are words, there are sentences, there are stories which inspire you, which make you feel like, okay, I can do something better, I can step outside my own domain, and your story is something like that. So thanks for the inspiration, thanks for inspiring my listeners. I'm not too sure if my listeners would call me up right now, because they are not calling up right now. But then again, I know in the next few days, they might call me up and say, the guest who came onto your show, we loved whatever she said. So Jillian was here. Remember that, because quite a bit of cinema in Kolkata release. By the way, you said you would say something in Bangla that you know, that you remember from your days in Kolkata.
Of course I do. Of course I remember one line and I love that line and I'll say it. It's Ami tomake bhalobasi.
That one golden line. Thank you, Jillian, for being here. Thank you.